Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, what I have here is a U.S. Artic Canteen that I've assembled from, I found the pieces brand new, basically, and put it together. Before I get into this canteen, I just wanted to say, on my giveaway, I was mentioning this canteen, and Knife Detector left a comment and said, oh, people would probably like to get one of those canteens. And I hadn't really been considering including in the giveaway, but that's a pretty good idea. And then I thought, well, you know what? If I'm going to give away a canteen, I might as well give something that looks like it could be used for backpacking and stuff like that. But then, inadvertently, I had mentioned this one. So basically what we're going to have in the giveaway is whoever wins will have their choice of which canteen they want, the Hungarian or the Czechoslovakian one. And both of these are in new condition, so we'll put that away. But getting back to this guy, it originally came in this heavy canvas duck cover, but they later on made like a nylon LC1 Alice pack type of cover for it. So as far as canteens go, in the more recent history, aluminum canteens were used by the U.S. Army from 1910 to 1963. And then they used stainless steel from 1942 to 1963. So there was kind of an overlap there in the war. And then there was a porcelain one they made in 1942 only. And then the plastic one, which we're used to seeing and everything, was one was used in World War II with a little seam across like the old ones. And then they started really using them the way we're used to seeing them now from 1962 on. The Arctic canteens were made in the early 1960s to around 1990. That's when their contract ended. Now there's a special Arctic canteen that was made in 1988. And I don't know when the production run ended, but there were only 17,000 of them made. And at one time there were a lot of those available. Just like these. These used to be available like crazy, cheap and everything else. And people started collecting them and selling them, and you start getting where they're harder to find in new condition. Anyways, this one's got, sorry this thing's bouncing around again. This thing's got, snaps on it. And when you put it in, you should make sure that this goes all the way around to seal the canteen. This is nice in that it's split. The canteen is split so you can get to, pull the canteen out, which we'll do. And I also have the cup. Let me dig that sucker out of there. The cup that's special made with it. The cup is stainless steel. But let's look at the cover a little bit more. So you see this reinforcing area right there? That's to protect, no matter which way you put in, if this is sitting here, rubbing against the stuff, eventually it might rub through. So no matter which way you put that in, this thing has got a protective webbing sewn in, to protect it on either side. It has some markings down here. It has a lot number 4, and then there's a 017. I don't think that's the year that this was made. I would say this was probably made in the 60s. But I got this canteen cover separately, like I said. And the canteen was brand new. I even had the box that it came with. And most of the canteens you see available are made in the 80s. And this one is a 1963 canteen. And has it up here on the date. I'll switch to zoom in mode. Alright, so it's marked up there U.S. VBC, which is a manufacturer, and then 11, just the month, and then 63, which is the year. It's aluminum on the outside, and stainless steel on the inside. And it's like a vacuum bottle type of situation. This is not a twist-off cork, it's just a pull-off one. And this opening right here is silicone. So the reason for that is, you know, if you've ever done this when you're a kid, I didn't grow up. I spent some of my time in Michigan when I was a kid, and I learned about the old stick your tongue on a frozen piece of metal trick. You know, I didn't fall for it, but I knew about it. So that's what you're trying to prevent with this. And just attached with a little piece of cord here, little split ring. These are not the type of canteens you want to boil water in or anything, because they're vacuum, you know, sealed and stuff on the inside. They're supposed to be rated to -40, but from what I've read, they're going to freeze eventually anyway, and usually they freeze right up here around the mouth. So, where did the Canteen Cup go? Oh, it's down here. And the Canteen Cup is a folding type. All it has on it is Wyatt Corporation, W-Y-O-T-T. That was the same one that used to make these in the 80s. I've seen a lot of canteens marked with Wyatt Corporation. It's stainless steel. It has this, you know, little like World War II type of L handle shape. Fairly stable. It's got a wide base to it, you know, so it'll fit the canteen. It's fairly stable. You can put like 2 or 3 strips of bacon in there, fry them up. And yeah, it's just got the typical standard GI type of canteen cup. This guy just fits right in it. And then you just stuff it in there. Now, because this was brand new, this cover was brand new, and the canteen was brand new and everything, I tend to like shove the canteen cup in there first. Get it situated. Get these little straps set up. And then you put the puppy in there. Now, the disadvantage of this, you know, they're actually, you think, oh, well, this is going to be used a lot in Arctic stuff and everything. They're actually used in Vietnam because, you know, you're out in a hot jungle and everything else. Nothing like cold water. An insulated canteen will protect it both ways. And keep hot things hot and cold things cold. Anyways, I really struggled with this the first time. It was like when you're a kid or when you're older and you think, let me see if I can put on the clothes I used to wear when I was in high school. Yeah, and you start doing this. Sucking your gut in. Struggling. Anyway, once you fight this puppy, see here, this flap was over. That's why it was fighting me. The thing is, you want to cover everything up so that the less metal of this is exposed, the more you work your insulation properties. I think we're getting close enough there, though. I'm not going to take all night to straighten this out. But yeah, they're a struggle to get a stretch and pull, snap. You will snap. Finally. Jeez. Yeah, you wouldn't be taking it out of the thing too often unless you're like melting snow or something with your canteen cup. We got a little wrinkle here. There's a little wrinkle in the operation. Anyway. We're so close and yet so far away. Let me pause this. Yeah, once I straighten that wrinkle out, got it straight over there, it's fine. But yeah, the main disadvantage to this Canteen is the weight. With this kit right here, empty, with no water in it, it's like a little over 2 pounds. So yeah, that's the main disadvantage of this one, is its weight. I mean, but having cool water or just water that you can drink when everything else is frozen around you can make a big difference. Difference between life and death sometimes. But yeah, this thing empty weighs 2.15 pounds. Empty. This Hungarian canteen holds about the same amount, about a quart. And it weighs 0.7 pounds. Empty. Now, this one doesn't have a cup in it, and the carrier and all the other stuff, but, I mean, you kind of get the idea. This thing is kind of heavy, kind of big. Now, it is round, and fits well, you know, in a flat shape and everything. The older ones, or the surplus ones you'll get a lot of times will have cracking, you know, on this plastic sometimes. And sometimes this will impart. This comes out. It's just, it only goes about this far. Pull it out. I'm not going to pull it out again because it didn't want to go back in real well. But if you don't like that, you can just pull this whole thing out and use a wine cork in there. It'll just fit right in there, and you won't have to struggle with the plastic taste. And, you know, that wine cork would be like if you're not worried about Arctic environments and everything and stuff like that. So, there you go. There's my little Arctic Canteen. And I pretty much have collected most of the mess gear stuff, so I'll just introduce one or two from here, you know, in there, and the rest of the time it'll be like knives. It'll be about knives, but occasionally I'll inject some canteen or mess kit. So there you go. There's the U.S. Artic Canteen. They are usually available fairly well. They're getting harder to find brand new at a decent price. And I would suggest grabbing one up if you've got an opportunity. If you see them in a store or something like that. They're good for like in a car too, a hot car. You put some cold water in there and you put it in the hot car. It'll stay cold probably all day. And no matter what the temperature is in the car, eventually, you know, it's going to get through to it. If it's sitting out in negative 20-degree temperature out there and you're not protecting it, yeah, this metal right here will, you know, conduct the cold down enough that it'll probably start freezing at. You also don't fill them all the way full, just in case, you know, it's going to freeze and stuff. But all in all, pretty good little piece of kit. If you don't like these Alice clips, you can just take them off, run some paracord through there, loop this thing. This is very sturdy material here too. They don't make this like they used to anymore. And yeah, so I'd recommend getting one if you got a chance. Like I said, it can be kind of expensive piecing them together, but the canteen is usually the most expensive part. And if you want to get one brand new, it's usually gonna cost you at least $20 or so on average. But the cover you can usually get for around $8 or $9, and the cup usually around $5 or so, $5 to $10. And the cup is stainless steel, like I said, so you don't have to worry about aluminum bothering you. And the aluminum on this is just on the outside. The inner wall and everything is stainless steel on the inside there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.